Hey, what's up, guys and girls and helicopters and saber-tooth tigers too? I don't want to leave myself out. Um, anyways, I'm not just a saber-tooth tiger. I'm a rare breed. I'm a mixture of interbreeding between attack helicopters and saber-tooth tigers. I always thought I was just a saber-tooth tiger, but I've learned, right? Sometimes I'm being sarcastic. I'm actually not very much anymore, but sometimes I am. Can you figure it out when I am? It's not about this, dude, because I want to be an attack helicopter and a saber-tooth tiger, right? So, and science tells me I can be. I can be whatever I want. So, this video is about PKAS. PKAIS. Psychologists Know It All Syndrome. Psychologists Know It All Syndrome. And we might know some people in our own lives, or maybe in ourselves, have been infected by this syndrome. And we might show, many of us might show a few signs of it, but there's some people out there who show a lot of signs of it. And what they do is they go around, they tell everyone else how everything is and how they should act, because they know it all. And in reality, it's a mental condition they have where they think they know it all, but they really don't. And so they move forward, and it's a great goal. It's a great thing in life to like find something to stand for, they say, and go after it. Like, you stand for, you think mosquitoes are annoying, so we stand to eradicate mosquitoes from the environment, we stand for that. We think rats are annoying, so we stand to eradicate the rats. Eradicate the rats. There's a lot of things people can stand for, and sometimes I find a lot of people, they stand for something for about 20 years, 12 K through 12, and then 8 additional years of college, and now they're cemented in their belief system because they've put all their money into it. And in reality, like, technically it's like a greed-based syndrome at the end of the day. But what isn't, right? How many things are not a greed-based syndrome? I mean, technically we could just rewrite the whole psychology book and just like greed, like the number one reason why anyone does much of anything, right? And but the problem is like religions don't attack themselves, right? They do. Like, I mean, there are religions out there, religious books that will tell you all about themselves, but they're like telling you that's the enemy or that's the person who needs help. It's like, it's not me. I just understand it. I understand how this stuff works. I only show traits and symptoms of this because I'm understanding of it. I mean, really, they don't even get that far, right? When's the last time you ever heard a psychologist like question themselves or what they say? They don't. Because why? Because greed. Because they need to make $30, $40, $50 an hour so they can go at home, live in this nice, fancy, rich place up on top of the hill while you live down in squalor with your mental condition. And they have some drugs for you too. One of the interesting things about this disorder is one of the first things I can point out really fast is there's this disorder that they label people with, PTSD, right? And we all know that is associated with soldiers. People who have gone to the Middle East, put a few rounds in some people's skulls, and maybe they seen it through the scope and they actually watched it happen, and it might have traumatized them. And so then they come back home, and then people kick them in the face and throw them to the curb. And now they're messed in their head because they were just sent off to go fight wars, and now everyone hates them because they're a warrior and a soldier, and no one wants that in a civilized society. I mean, except for the fact that you got to hire people like that to go do your dirty work for you. And it makes me think, that's a really good example right there. And a lot of these things can be tied into this. I hate to blame society for how a person acts, but I got to call it how I see it, right? When I see a soldier, like, I've never talked to a soldier and been like, oh, you got a mental condition, dude. Like, you're like sitting there crying and like, oh, God, what the hell's going on in this world? Like, oh, I can't stand this. I need to go back to the war. I'm not fit for this world. And I'm just like, if you'd say that to me, man, I mean, you don't have to, right? When you're a soldier, like, I talk to you like you're a man, and you talk to me like I'm a man. And I mean, that's basic boot camp training, right? To learn how to talk to people like they're men and learn how to act like a man. It might be some of the few people in this world who understand what any of that actually is. And you know me, like, I'll talk shit about military or government all day long, but I got to call it how it is. I mean, half my family's been in the military. It's not like I actually hate these people or something. I just call it how it is. And then, so now there's like this mental condition associated with them. But the mess up thing is this person who's telling this person they have a mental condition, this is the person who's paid the government to send this person to go kill people for them. And so this person has said, hey, go kill these people for me. And then the soldier listens. The soldier is like, you will honor and respect me if I do this. I will do this. This is the most important job. People are scared to do this. I will go do this. And the soldier goes out there and he's, hoorah, I'm doing it. And then a lot of soldiers, they use, like, George Carlin did an interesting skit on this, and it was pretty truthful. They used to call it shell shock. Like, no one who came back from the war was like traumatically injured or anything like that. They were, but they weren't like, oh, I'm so pathetic, I'm damaged goods now. People are like, oh, that muff is shell shock. Like, best stay 6 feet away. You know what I'm saying? Like, 6 feet, please. Give me 6 feet. I might catch the corona or something from you. And back then it was like cool, like, women would like flock to someone like that. They still do, right? I mean, tell me they don't. Women have like whatever's going on between the feminists and the chauvinists, and there's like definitely this thing here. Even me, like, I, as a man, like, if I see a woman in the military, I'm like, ooh, like, I bet you she's tough. And like, I can only imagine how much more so a female looks at something like that. Like, oh my God, he can protect me and my children for life. Like, oh my God. And he can, I need to get with him now. But anyways, this isn't about that, right? But look at how this happens. Like, this isn't just this. This isn't just PTSD. This is, there's ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. There's ADHD. And I admit, like, I got problems paying attention. But a lot of my problem, like, I try to look back at my past life. Or I do look back at my past life. And I'm like, I can't, like, write it off as it's not a condition. Because, like, I really have problems paying attention to dumb stuff. And I look at it and like, why would have I paid attention to any of that anyways? Like, why would I, like, I got B's in history class, dude. Like, I would have like beat myself. Like I would have respected my parents if they would have taken a whip to me for getting a B in history class if I didn't not believe in history, right? If I didn't think it was totally fake, I would have been on my own case about that. I would have been like, B? What is that? B means do better next time. Like, B means you're not being good enough. And I look back at a lot of that, and it's like, I had ODD apparently because I got a B in history because I didn't give two rats' asses about it. And, I mean, but look at society today, like half of them would agree with that. But the psychology shit, man, it's just little blurbs. It's little ideas. People, This pedophile Freud who talked about having sex with his mother. How sick is that, dude? Like, I see my mom naked once, and that was about the only time I thought, like, wow, that's hot. Like, I never thought, like, and that was when, like, I was real young, dude. That definitely changed real fast. But, like, I never, like, really thought, like, ooh, like, I have some obsession with my mother, like this pedophile Freud. And pedophilia can go both ways. Like, I'll hate me forever for that because, like I'm actually making an argument for some of these other people that these little children are actually doing the pedophilia versus the older people sometimes. I mean, hate me for that. I just try to stay middle ground, and everyone hates me for that because everyone wants to choose a side. That's why, like, I like to start propaganda by choosing a side, and I like, gather that side because I want to bring them all together in some sort of stability and stuff. It's not because I really care about any extreme to one way or the other. But these people, they think they know everything, and when they don't like you, they have something to tell you. They have when you've done something wrong or different, it's not even wrong. It's like, what's wrong in this world, dude? Like, who out here is not like a piece of shit committing all sorts of sins and wrongs? And, like even Jesus said, let he is who without sin cast the first stone. So, I mean, like right there, like, I'm not saying you have to believe in any sort of Abrahamic religion, but I'm saying, like, the Bible has like 10, 20 quotes in there that are pretty valid. Maybe every group has something like 10, 20 quotes out of their billion, trillion quotes that are valid. But, like, those are like basic rules to live by. Let he who's without sin cast the first stone. But these people, they're like stone casters who are afraid to just pop you in the head with a stone, right? Like when I was a kid, I popped someone in the head with a stone, right? You know what? I felt bad for that. I felt really bad for that. Like, these were like my best friends. And after I popped them in the head with the stone, I could no longer go around them. And I felt really bad that they had to spend time in the hospital and get their heads stitched open and all this stuff. It may not sound it because I'm laughing right now, but I really like these were my dudes. I mean, these were seriously my cats. And it's like I was casting stones at these motherfuckers because they were talking shit. But they was my dudes. And, I was just this piece of shit saying, oh, look how wrong you are. You got this running the mouth disorder. You got this mental disorder where you're running your mouth. And I've got the solution here. It's a huge freaking piece of concrete I'm going to toss your way. And now your fucking mental problems are solved because your mental is demolished by this huge piece of concrete I fucking tossed at your skull, right? And peace be with him. Anyways, but it's literally like that, right? You go to these people and they got some drugs to sell you, they got some classes to sell you, and then they go home to their like fancy houses and they're driving their rich Lexus to work and stuff. It's got all those fancy features, kind of like my Cadillac here, but a Lexus is a little bit better in some ways, maybe, possibly, right? And so that's where it gets them like standing firm in what they believe in, right? But is it something to stand firm in, really? Is it reality? Like, stand firm in stuff. Don't try to like stand firm in some stuff where you tell people like what is like the only thing possible in this world and everything I say is right. Maybe there is nothing other than that when it comes to standing firm in your beliefs. Maybe I'm not very good at standing firm in beliefs. Maybe I'm best adept at evolving and shedding the beliefs I had 10 seconds ago. But this is a belief I've had for a while right here. How the system operates like this. You know what? And the mess up thing is those PTSD soldiers. Okay, these rich preppies are sending these soldiers off to kill for them, to secure land, to secure oil, to secure gold, to secure racial supremacy, whichever these things or other things I've not mentioned you believe that they're doing it for. They're doing it, right? And then you get the military going out there and guarding and then destroying opium fields in Afghanistan. And then the doctors back here in USA are the ones in control of this stuff. They're the only ones in the world, in USA, allowed to sell this stuff. Anyone else will get killed off. But they're allowed to because they've got the PKIAS syndrome, Psychology Know It syndrome. PKIAS, Psychology Know It syndrome. Because they've got it. Because they know it. I mean, maybe some of them, if they were honest, they could make the argument they know what they're doing. Like, we're taking over the world. Congratulations. We have beat all these other psycho terrorists by being the best psycho terrorists in the world. And that's a good argument. I had someone approach me with that argument, and like after 3 years of looking back, I'm like you're right. Like everyone's acting like this psycho terrorist scumbag. Everyone's participating in this psychoterrorism scumbaggery. And you are just excellent at it. And I'm being a hater because you have succeeded at conquering the minds of these other psycho-terrorist scumbags using the methods of psycho scumbag terrorology. And at the end of the day, like, I can't argue that. If I walk into a boxing match and I don't agree that people should be punching each other in the face and breaking their nose and busting their eyes out of their socket and breaking their legs, let's say MMA match, because I said breaking the legs. If I don't agree with your use of that, that doesn't mean I can't agree that you're the best at that if you walk away and the other person has to get hauled off on a stretcher. You are indeed the best at that. And I cannot condemn you because you mutilated the other psycho scumbag. May the best man win. I can only imagine where that came from. That came from stuff like that, didn't it? May the best man winning. It came from pitting two people who want to kill people against one another, and the best person at killing people won because the other person is dead and they're alive. I cannot logically say you're a bad person because you've proven yourself to be better at that. If that was the whole intent, if that was the way the game was played, then you are indeed the best man. If you have walked away with your opponent's blood all over you and you're leaving blood trails everywhere, but it's not your blood. It's like you stepped in puddles of their blood, and so your feet print are just leaving their blood everywhere. You are indeed the best man. I will not take that from you. I will not harm you for that. You pit two fucking violent people against one another. Not even you pit. Two violent people pit themselves against one another. And they both proclaim the best man will win this match. This one claims they're the best man. This one claims they're the best man. And then they go at it. And whichever one walks away mostly intact, and with the least brain damage and all that stuff, then the best man has won. But in this stuff, this is like passive aggressive, okay? MMA fighting and boxing is aggression. So these are people who say, I'm going to beat the brains out of your skull and break your freaking leg. And another person says, oh yeah, well, I'm going to break your neck and I'm going to break your leg and stuff it down your throat. And I sit back at that and I watch and I'm like, well, may the best man win. Like whichever one of you is better at this killing and maiming one another, you are indeed superior to the other person in their actions and their belief set. But this stuff right here, like this is passive aggression. This is how passive aggression works. You tell someone they're messed up. Oh, I've got the fix for you though. Like, oh yeah, I've got it right here, bro. Only $79 if you have insurance a month, and only, $2,543 a month if you don't have insurance. And I mean, we can help you get insurance because we're going to get some grants over here and stuff. That's going to take some time, but you're going to have to come back and see me some more. So it's going to end up being like, $60,000 bill for the first month, but we'll get you fixed out. In the meantime, my house is not fully paid for, so I really need that money. So I'm going to need you to come back in 4 days, and we're going to run some tests on you and let you know what's going on. And I would like to see some of these people put under a microscope to see who they are. But we live in some society now where, oh, blah, 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 blah. The snowflake. Some people call it the snowflake society. Do I have that on upside down? No doubt. I don't even know which way it fits because really they fit either way and they look differently when they fit differently. It actually fits the nose better the other way, and I'm supposed to keep my nose covered. I definitely want to keep it covered because I got this big freaking Semitic nose, and I wouldn't want anyone to actually fucking see that because, like, it takes away from the beauty of it all, right? But, I got tired of this shit when I was a kid, dude. Like, I would get sent to psychologists all the time or whatever. Not really psychiatrists, but mostly psychologists, right? Are they the ones who sell the drugs? Whichever ones sell the drugs. Sorry about that. I mean, should I even apologize? People tell me I should not apologize, but I was raised by old people where we had fucking manners and shit. The only thing that doesn't show I was raised by old people is I say the word fuck every 10 seconds. But that's because I got fucking tired of everything. So I was just like, really like... And I got to the point, too, where I'm like, well, if I just say the word enough, maybe people will stop being offended by it. And that's the real answer. Rather than erasing our history and our grammar and our language every 7 years because someone's offended by the word shit, fuck, piss, whatever. Like, you just say the word and people will stop getting offended by it. Like, my grandparents, especially, used to tell poop jokes all the time. And it's like, ooh, I don't want to hear that. But now I'm making videos on how to, like, poop better and stuff like that, right? It's like I don't want to hear it still, but it's, they got me to the point where I can talk about this shit and I have knowledge to offer on it. And there's actually more than that video I offered. I actually left out like the most basic stuff I do every time, but I did answer like the natural way to solve constipation, but involving like ripping yourself open. Like I could have taught a little more, and that could mean every time, even when you're not constipated. But that's not even this video. This video is about psychology and stuff like that. And who is like the God? Like psychology is like a religion. You know what I'm saying? Atheism, science, psychology. These are just names for new religions They're ran by the same people. Look, the medical field runs it. Every hospital is named after some Christian shit. You know what I'm saying? Every hospital is like St. Anne's or Riverside Methodist or Pope John Paul's, butt pole. And, whatever they want to call it. It's all named after that. It's like, there's even like Christian denomination now who are called like Christian Scientists. And it's like, I'm not even against that. It's like, please do start, being honest and stuff. Please do, like, especially if you claim to believe in Jesus, please do start trying to be honest, because I mean, that was what that was supposed to be about. But then supposedly other people like use it to invade and kill off the Europeans and invade to kill off the natives and the South Americans and the Australians and the Ukrainians, aka the Khazarians, and and then atheism kind of spawned. Atheism kind of spawned as a cult that went on to lead communism, which went on into to cleanse the Russians and the Chinese and blah blah blah. And I can totally see the Chinese hate religion now, and that's probably why, because people in their government are like, well, they use that stuff to like kill off most of our people, and we were like very formidable kingdoms before all that, and now they're like, we don't want anything to do with any of your beliefs, any belief system. And who knows what they really do, because we don't know unless we're there. Anyone who claims to know anything about China is a liar, because everyone who watches American media knows they're being lied to, and we can't trust a word they say. And when I go to look for Chinese media on my own, A, I would have to learn to speak Chinese to read it, and B, they're on an intranet, which means it's a closed internet that their people can't get outside of, and our people can't access inside of. So we don't really know what's going on. But they're just like an opposition to different groups. It's just like a symbol of opposition to belief systems. Although they've embraced this science and atheism according to our media. I mean, I really hate to even repeat anything they've said, and because I feel like an idiot myself if I say it, and I haven't seen it myself. But this belief system here that everyone has a problem but me, give me money. What type of belief system is this? It's a scientific belief system. Imagine that. Science was where you seen something and then you ask a question about it, and then you try to disprove or prove your question's validity. So science is a system of seeing a thought or a belief system and then questioning it. So they're no longer scientists because they don't question themselves. Every scientist who tells you what's going on, they're not scientists. It's as simple as that. Every scientist who says, oh, this is how it is, this is how it's always going to be, they're not a scientist. They're not questioning. That's the second step to the scientific method, is to question. And, it's good to see some other people coming along on this pattern of standing firm in this belief system. Because that's the important part of the belief system, is understanding that you don't understand and you must continue to question. But these other groups, like, they grab onto little parts of science and they're like, this is it forever. Al Gore might be an example to some people, especially on the right wing. And they grab onto little bits of science and they're like, this is it, this is all I know, this must be true. And then just because it's all you know doesn't mean it's true. When I was a child, I don't even know what I knew. But I knew it wasn't true. You know? I was a child, and I was told constantly, maybe I knew more than I thought I did. Maybe I was actually, I would have been right at that point in time if I thought I knew it all. But, people constantly told me, like, hey, you're like 4 years old, you're like 6 years old, like, you don't understand what's going on. I didn't understand at all what that really could mean back then. But what they basically meant was I didn't understand how to brush my teeth and wash my ass. And so I should listen and learn how to brush my teeth and wash myself. And, they're kind of right in that situation. But, that's when I'm like 4 and 6. As I develop and get older, I begin to question and theorize, hypothesize, and test things myself. But these people, they aren't theorizing and hypothesizing and testing. They're not scientists. They're like an arm of the science cult, right? But they're not scientists. They're just doing what the book says. And the book is being rewritten every day. Every day. That's one of the strong points of science, right? I mean, it's one of the strong points. I don't even need to put quotes there, because it's the fake science that has turned it all to nonsense. Science was supposed to be good. But these people, like, they read their books and they're like, now I know everything, and I've got to go make money to pay for my $450,000 house up here on the hill and stuff, with 7 bedrooms and 3 garages, right? And so that's it. They've got to stop at some point. Most people stop at some point. They're like, hey, I want a roof over my head. I got to take what I know and make money with it. And I can't necessarily condemn people for that. I mean, who really wants to live like I do, right? It's interesting. It can be fun. Not really. But, I don't know what it's like to be a slave, so I can't necessarily compare the two together. But yeah, like, I could see why people don't want to end up in a situation where I'm in, where they can't afford anything and can't pay bills and they don't have a house. And so they take what they have and they go make money with it. Are you the best mechanic? Are you in the top 30% best mechanics? Are you gonna, maybe not. Are you gonna mess up like 3 out of 10 oil changes you make and it destroy the engine in the car you work on? Maybe, but I mean, you gotta get food in the house somehow, right? So it's time to stop learning and it's time to start doing. But these people are coming from like an era of arrogance where they regurgitate all this nonsense. The way I see it, especially with that PTSD description I gave so eloquently. Tell me how that's wrong. These psychologists, these snowflakes, they're not going to go to war. They're not going to pick up an assault rifle and go pop a Muslim in the head and steal their opium or gold or oil or land, whichever you really think that's for. Hell, sometimes I wonder if war isn't just for people who want to kill and we send them to kill each other off because we want them out of our hair. But even a psychologist isn't going to tell you that. A psychologist is living comfortably because supposedly, according to the narrative, this soldier has went off to sacrifice their life for the psychologist. Now, the psychologist has some good drugs for them. Maybe. Some of the best drugs are probably outlawed because they're too effective and they're free. Maybe they're free. Maybe they've always been available and you're just not making enough money off them anymore and stuff. There's a lot of arguments, a lot of directions that can go. This isn't about that. This is about these people who think they know it all. And so they go and tell you they know it all. And that describes what? Everyone? So, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is they drug people, they electrocute people, electroshock therapy, they kidnap people. They have police working for them. They have prisons. They call them mental wards. And these people use these methods to tell you that you're wrong according to their belief system. And how much more wicked or less wicked is that for someone to say, oh, you're a bad person, I've got to kidnap you, or I've got some drugs to sell to you? How much more or less wicked is that than a person who has been defying society and selling drugs on the street and saying, oh, I'll punch you in the face if you say something wrong to me? What's the real difference here between these people? The only difference I see is one's a snowflake and the other one's partially honest about who they are. And you know what? Like, may the best man win. You put those two people in a ring, who do you think is going to come out alive? The psychologist or the PTSD victim? May the best man win, for real. I really hate to resort to savagery like that some days, but I've seen so much in my life. I'm like, well, like, this stuff was invented for a reason, right? Like, God didn't just created the Matrix. It didn't just invent savagery because he was like in a bad mood and he wanted to see stupid people do stupid stuff, right? Like, it looks like a useful tool in some situations. And one situation could be telling people who have some sort of know-it-all syndrome where they can go, Like, that could be a great use for a savage. Like, I'm probably not the only one who's thought that, back in the day, supposedly there were these cave people walked around with clubs and they just bopped you on the head with the club if you said something stupid. Or you probably didn't have to say anything stupid. They might just bop you on the head with the club. And how much difference is that than someone who reads a book and tries to bop you on the head with the words from those books, and then they got a army of 1 million people to bop you on the head if you don't agree with the book they tell you about? Hell, they're the leader to bop you on the head with the club cult. They're not any different. They're the leader. They call the minions up. The minions at the clubs. They don't even have to carry around the club. They're a card-carrying member of the club. The other people are still trying to work their way up through the ranks using wooden and metal batons and stuff.